Hello, friends and fellow grievers. This episode, we're going to talk about why nighttime makes grief so much harder. So, welcome. And this is something that I found probably the most difficult was the nighttime, evening time. So, I kind of want to break this up into two different parts and talk about how to handle evening slash nighttime. So, first, I want to talk about the evening time. So, typically what happened for me is like you're going, you're able to stay busy enough throughout the day that you're distracted, right? Like, and you have these moments of sadness and these snippets of like memories, but you just kind of keep pushing it away and push it away. Almost like, if you were in a pool and you have a beach ball, it's like you're able to like push the beach ball down for a little while. But then what happens is it keeps popping back up, right? So for me, in the evening, after I would slow down and I would come home from work, and it was almost like when I would walk in the door, I was with my family, and the noisiness, the busyness of that could distract me somewhat, but it almost was like I've been putting on a brave face all day. Ooh, I can breathe. I can relax. I don't have to be strong here. And what would happen is I would either lash out, right? Or like be mad about little things or be upset and like just my emotions were all over the place. Or I was able to distract myself, right? More and more, like a little bit with the kids and stuff. But then eventually what would happen is evening would come, nighttime would come when like the kids were in bed and it was quiet. And sometimes even then, I could still kind of push the beach ball down a little bit and I could prolong the feelings, the emotions because I'd be distracted. Like I'd be finishing up charting, or my husband and I would be watching a TV show, and I could keep the beach ball pushed down just enough to make it until bedtime. And then bedtime would come. And then my thoughts, which I'd been pushing down all day long, all my feelings and emotions, which I'd been pushing down all day long, would come up. And so that's what I want to talk about today is that the way that we distract ourselves all day long, and that's what makes night and evening the hardest time of day. So I'm going to give you a few tips, tricks, things that have worked for me throughout the years. But as always, if you're like, yeah, that's not working for me, I'm different than that, I'm really still struggling, I've tried these things, as always, please book a free consult call with me. You can go to catholicgriefcoach.com and book that there, or just look in the show notes and it's posted there as well. So, first, I want to talk about a little bit about our distraction technique, right? And that is perfectly normal. Our brains do this because our brains like safety. They are always seeking pleasure and they're always trying to exert as little energy as possible. And so we think that if we acknowledge these sad feelings that come up through the day, that we won't have enough, like it's too draining of our energy. It's certainly not a happy, pleasurable thing to feel that way. So we just try to like distract ourselves, which again is totally normal, is completely human emotion response. Like that's just what we try to do. But really all it does is it prolongs that, it pushes it off. And so when it does come flooding back to us, it's almost like it's too much at once. And I really feel like our grief, our bodies are designed to give us little bits of emotion at a time. And when we push it away and hide it, push it down, that's when then our body can't handle it because then we are so anxious or we're so overwhelmed, right? Like obviously there's, people like if you have anxiety and stuff, that's a little bit different, but like really our bodies are made just like our hunger, right? Okay, our body is made to signal, our stomach signals to our brain, oh, we're hungry. Our tummy rumbles a little bit. and we might push it away. But then what happens is our stomach rumbles again, a little bit louder this time, saying, "Hey, you forgot to feed me. I'm hungry." And maybe we're still distracted and busy. We're trying to wrap up this final thing. And so we ignore it until finally it gets to a point where it's like, I am so hungry, I might die. So I need to eat three cheeseburgers and fries and a shake, right? Like, so we go so extreme the other way. And that's a lot of food. But that's what happens, right? So the same with grief, our body sends us signals throughout the day like, hey, you're sad. Hey, this is a lot right now. But we tend to just push it down to ignore it. And acknowledging our grief really isn't something that we need to do in order to survive, right? Like we have to feed ourselves. We have to drink water, we have to feed ourselves, otherwise we really would die. But like our brain likes to switch that and say, okay, if we don't acknowledge this grief, nothing bad will happen. So let's just keep ignoring that. But really what happens is, like I said, it becomes so overwhelming that your body's just like, we are grieving and we're going to do this today, whether you like it or not. So that's kind of an intro into talking about nighttime. And also, but it really starts during the day. Okay. Really starts with those first like grief cues of like, oh, I feel sad today. Oh, like that really like, oh, that song made me sad. Or I saw something like, and I didn't start out the day this way, but maybe now I'm like, oh, like it's just been a lot. So again, noticing that when it starts to come up and when it's happening, and and then like with anything, I like to say, and then we make a plan for it. Because just like you can plan your hunger, right? And know like, okay, I'm like my body's gonna be hungry if I haven't eaten in 3 hours. It's gonna start to get hungry again. We can plan and say, oh, like this is how I want to show up on a day where like maybe my grief isn't as hard. It's not as intense. Maybe my grief was really intense today. Okay, I didn't show up great. How can I learn from that? What do I want to do differently? And then that's where we can start to practice. And I like to call those red, yellow, and green days. I often throw in an orange color because sometimes going from red to yellow feels like too big of a gap. So I'm like, okay, here's a red day, here's an orange day, here's a yellow day, here's a green day, right? Red days are really, really hard days. And planning, how can I take care of myself when it's a red day? Down to how can I take care of myself when it's a green day? It's a really good day. And so the more that we implement these actions to allow the grief during the day, the less intense or hard the nighttime will be. And I'm not saying that nighttime won't be hard. It still will be hard because it's just quiet. It's a time where all those memories and everything just comes up. It's just that's just how it goes. So I'm not saying it won't be hard, but it'll be less intense and maybe even feel less hard as you start to incorporate ways throughout the day to take care of yourself. So, a few ways to do this is first, and again, to acknowledge that evening times when it is quiet, that's what can be the hardest times. Um, and I had never like I knew this, but I hadn't really like thought of it in this way before. Especially if you are, a widow or widower where you are coming back to an empty house. Like the quietness of that. And I know I thought about it kind of after the fact with my mom, like how hard that must have been to just have that quietness all the time where it wasn't like that, right? Like my dad would, he was a rancher. So like, he maybe wasn't in the house when she first got home, but knowing like, oh, he'll come in eventually and that just that other person there and how hard it would have been for her to have nobody coming, nobody checking in, nobody, right? So I just think there too, it's like to give yourself extra grace if that's you, if that's where you're at, and to know like, okay, and how can I take care of myself in that? So some things to try to, especially at nighttime, is to have a routine, to try having a few. I like to have a few calming thoughts to go to, especially in the beginning when like nighttime really was hard. And I would also wake up sometimes in the middle of the night, and that was hard. Just knowing, like, okay, like nothing's gone wrong. Of course, I'm like, I might not get more sleep tonight. That's okay. How can I take care of myself? Right? Like just knowing, okay, like this is normal. This is this is okay. I'm again, I like to go back to I'm safe, I'm loved, and just having even a routine of, okay, at this time I shut off the TV. At this time, I start getting ready for bed. At this time, maybe I go read my book, or like having something in place that again works for you. I know not every like I'm a big reader. I know not everybody's a reader. Um, but just what things do you like to do to unwind, to calm down at the end of the day? So having a few like kind of like a routine within those things that help you kind of slow down, relax your mind. Another thing too that is helpful, this is just kind of across the board to shut off your phone before you go to bed. Even having things like the blackout curtains, where it's darker, having a calming environment. But and those things are helpful, but mostly what keeps us awake are thoughts, right? Like the spiraling thoughts, the what ifs, the I should have done this, if onlys, right? So like just again noticing that those thoughts are coming, and when I can see them, then sometimes I'll even like in my mind I'll be like, Nicole, you are spiraling. Stop. You will never know what could have been with the what ifs because that's not what happened. The reality is this is what happened. The reality is you did the best you could. The reality is you made the best choices you possibly could at that time with the information you had. So those are a few things I like to tell myself. And again, sometimes I really like I have to say my name in my head or even like out loud because I get caught up in such a just a spiral, right? Like that anxiety driven spiral of like, oh my gosh, like this and then this and then this and then this. So saying, Nicole, stop. What is the reality? What is the truth? And then going from there. And then too, another thing too I find very helpful is when I can't, like I wouldn't say can't, right? I can kind of stop and I can be like, okay, Nicole, stop. But then what do I fill that with? Because I can't just lay down and be like, okay, now I'm gonna go to bed. I told myself to stop. What I like to do is, for one, my first go-to thing is often the rosary. So I will grab my rosary and I'll start praying. And a lot of times I'll fall asleep so fast I don't even know if I make it through the first three Hail Marys. Like it's pretty fast. Other times I'll make it through the whole rosary and I can just still feel like that tension. So then I just know, okay, I'm not gonna get some sleep right now. So my next thing that I do, I prayed my rosary. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go read a book. Or when I was working more full time, I was like, I still have some charting. I'm thinking about that a lot. I'm just gonna get up. I'm gonna go finish that charting. I'm gonna just give myself 20 minutes. Or when I finish that, I'll reassess. Maybe I'll still have 2 hours. I can go lay back down again. But just know it like it's okay. I can function on little sleep and it's okay. We'll try again tomorrow night, or planning in the next day. Maybe I can get a little nap in here or close my eyes for 20 minutes there. So again, it's just like putting that plan in place to take care of yourself the best way that you can. And again, if you want help walking through this, please book a free consult call with me, catholicgriefcoach.com, or see the show notes below. Because again, everybody's so different. Everybody's things that they like and enjoy in their sleep patterns are really different. But I especially encourage you to reach out if it's been a while and you're like, I can't sleep. Like I can't do it. And it's just hard, right? It's just hard. So you're so loved. I'll be praying for you and let's take the next steps together.